Every election comes with the same promise: change, new leaders, new ideas, new direction. And yet, after some time, everything seems to fall back into the same patterns. So here's the question almost no one asks, and yet it may be the most important one. Is power really in the hands of individuals, or in the structures no one sees? Today, on Logos and Law, we explore the invisible force that may be more powerful than any leader.
Have you ever noticed how, regardless of who rises to power, certain things never change? They promise to reform the system, they promise to break with the past, and after some time, the same policies, the same limitations, the same deadlocks. As if there were an invisible force greater than any individual, one that bends leaders to its weight before they manage to bend anything else. This is not coincidence, and it is not necessarily corruption. Although corruption exists, it is something more structural, more profound, and in a certain sense, more disturbing, because it has no face, no name. It cannot be voted out of power. The most important philosophical and political question we rarely ask is this: does power reside in the people we see, or in the structures we don't?
Montesquieu, in the 18th century, already understood that real power never rests in the hands of an individual. It lives in the architecture of institutions. That is why he defended the separation of powers, not because he distrusted specific people, but because he understood that any person placed in a structure without checks would tend to expand their power indefinitely. The solution was not to find better leaders. It was to build systems that made abuse structurally difficult. But what happens when the systems themselves become the problem? Max Weber described modern bureaucracy as an iron cage, a rational system built to organize society that, over time, begins to operate according to its own logic, independent of the intentions of whoever is inside it. A minister takes office with a plan. They discover that the plan depends on approvals, on committees, on regulations, on entrenched interests, on power relations that have existed for decades. The system does not obey the leader. The leader learns to obey the system.
And here is the most uncomfortable point. This is not necessarily a failure. In part, it is a protection. Systems that resist individual leaders also resist tyrants. The bureaucracy that frustrates the well-intentioned reformer is the same bureaucracy that slows down the authoritarian. The institutional framework that seems locked is the same one that prevents a single individual from concentrating absolute power quickly. So how do you balance this? How do you build systems solid enough to resist abuse and at the same time permeable enough for genuine change to be possible? That is the central tension of any functioning democracy, and there is no simple answer. What exists is the awareness that when we elect someone, we are doing only part of the work. The other part, perhaps the most important, is building, demanding, and protecting the institutions that will exist before, during, and long after any leader is gone.
Because in the end, who governs is not only whoever sits at the top, it is the entire set of rules, incentives, histories, and power relations that determine what is possible from that position. Leaders pass, systems remain. And the question that a mature society must learn to ask is not only who do I vote for, but what kind of structure am I helping to build or to destroy with my choices? Leaders come and go, systems remain, and perhaps real power was never where you were taught to look. Now, let me ask you, do leaders shape the system, or does the system shape the leaders? Leave your perspective in the comments. This is a debate worth having. And if you want to understand what truly governs the world beneath appearances, stay with us. This is Logos and Law. See you in the next one.